The secret to successful manifestation is to be able to feel that you already have the thing that you desire before you have it. So how do you actually do that? Watch this video until the end to find out. What's up, superheroes? Welcome back to my channel, the place where we make the impossible possible. I'm Scarlet Grace from Seraph.com. I'm a manifestation coach, and today's video is about how to capture the feeling of the wish fulfilled so that you can manifest your desire. If you're new here and you want to learn how to manifest any desire fast with the law of attraction and Neville Goddard's teachings, then start now by hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you won't miss any video that could change your life. And if you need some extra help and my personal advice for your situation, you can sign up for coaching. I also have a 21-day course on how to manifest your specific person, a scripting course, and other courses, exclusive merch, and other cool things, so check all the links in the description below. So let's talk about how to truly feel it before you have it. If you've been watching my videos for a while, or if you're familiar with Neville Goddard's teachings, you already know that the most effective way to manifest any desire that you have is to put yourself in the state of your wish fulfilled. This is what we call living from the end. Now here's the problem. There is one subtle difference that I feel many people are missing when we talk about living from the end and putting yourself in the state of your wish fulfilled. Many people assume that putting yourself in the state of the wish fulfilled is the same as putting yourself in the scene of the wish fulfilled. And those two things are not exactly the same. Neville Goddard didn't say, put yourself in the scene of your wish fulfilled, the scene where your wish is already fulfilled, the scene where, for example, you're already married to your specific person, the scene where you already are the boss at your job, the scene where you already have won the lottery, is just one part of the state of the wish fulfilled. What Neville actually said was, conjure up a scene that implies that your desire has already been fulfilled. Now that's the part you're familiar with. But the vital part in this is the feelings and the thoughts associated with that scene, because that is the state of the wish fulfilled. In other words, when you imagine yourself living through that scene where your wish is already fulfilled, you are in a different state than you are right now when your wish hasn't been fulfilled yet. You do not have the same thoughts. You do not have the same feelings. Your inner state is much different. And the purpose of the scene is not to just imagine. The purpose of the scene is to find and connect to that state you would be in had your desire already manifested. And the reason I know that many people do not get this difference is because I have many coaching clients, and I see many of your comments under my videos saying I've been imagining for 3 weeks or 3 months and my desire hasn't already manifested. And even though I can imagine and I feel good when I imagine, I also wonder how this is going to work out and how I can deal with that problem and this problem that is standing in the way of my manifestation. For example, I have coaching clients who tell me, I have this specific scene, and they describe the scene to me perfectly, and it's a great scene for them to manifest their desire. But then they start going on and on about how they want the person to apologize before they accept the person back, or how they cannot stop thinking about the past and all the painful things that happened in their relationship with that person in the past, or how they want this to happen and that to happen, how they keep obsessing over a third party, how they keep obsessing over that person's parents not liking this relationship. And here's the thing, if you're obsessing over all those things, then you have not managed to put yourself in a state of the wish being fulfilled, having been fulfilled already. Because from a state where your wish has already been fulfilled, all those things are irrelevant. What Neville said, what Neville instructed people to do, was not just imagine a scene and feel happy about the scene. He said, for example, if you want a better job, if you want to become the boss at your firm, before you go to bed at night, before you fall asleep, close your eyes and imagine that you are already the boss. Walk around your new office. How do you feel as the boss? How do you feel when you tell people what to do because you are the boss and you call the shots. And that is because that is the state of being the boss. Because being the boss is a different inner state than being someone's employee. Your whole mentality is different. Your whole psychology is different. There is a state associated with being an employee. You usually expect other people to call the shots. You are not making the decisions, even if you feel that a decision is stupid and it's wrong and it's going to harm the business, it is going to harm the company. It is not your place to step up and say, hey, this is stupid. It's your boss's job. That is the state of being an employee. But when you're the boss, you do not just get the job. Your whole point of view changes because now you are the one who decides on the plan of action. You are the one who decides that, okay, we have been doing that up until now, but I think this is stupid and I believe this is harming the business and we're going to do something else. And no, it's not up for discussion because I'm the boss. I decide that we're going to try something different here because that's what I feel is going to work. This is a completely different state from the state of being an employee. So if you want to manifest becoming the boss, for example, it is not enough to just picture yourself being the boss and signing documents. You need to connect to that state of the version of you that is already the boss. This person is different than you are right now. This person gets more money. That makes a lot of difference in the way you see life, in the way you see your job. That person has more responsibility. This changes how you see your life, how you see your job, how you see yourself. This person may even be more confident than you are right now. Or maybe they feel validated when before as an employee you didn't feel validated, especially if you had a boss that didn't listen to you, didn't listen to your input, and just went with whatever they felt was right, and it was usually wrong. And you kept feeling that you have the solution so nobody's listening to you. So it is a completely different state. And in order to manifest the desire, you need to step into the shoes of that version of you that is in a different state than you are right now. So next time you do your imagining session, don't just focus on the images. Ask yourself while in your scene, how do I feel? Do I feel different? Do I have different beliefs? Do I make different choices as this person who is the boss or as this person who is married to their specific person? Because the person you are right now and the person who has your desire, those are two different states. Those are two very different people. I mean, think back. Are you the same person you were in first grade? Probably not. You're a completely different person. You grew up, you learned things, you made mistakes, you had tons of experiences that shaped you as a person. You are not the same person you were in first grade. So the version of you that is in first grade, if they wanted to become who you are right now, they would have to ask themselves how that version of them that is 10 years older or 20 years older or 30 years older is different from how they are in first grade. And that includes a series of changes. And this is your job if you want to manifest something. That is what Neville instructed people to do. Identify with a new state. Because from that new state, from the state of I am already the boss, many of the things you feel are obstacles on your path are resolved. Because from the state of I am already the boss, you don't have to deal with a ton of small problems that you feel are on the way to you becoming the boss. You are already the boss. And sometimes, by simply identifying with that new version of you, the version of you who is already the boss, who is more confident, who feels validated because he or she was given that position, those small problems, you get exactly the right idea on how to handle them now. So from your perspective as an employee, those things that stand in the way of you becoming the boss may look unsurmountable, may look too difficult. But if you step into the shoes of already being the boss and you look back, by identifying with that state, maybe something will come to you as divine inspiration that makes resolving all those issues a very simple thing. You won't even have to struggle, because manifesting is not about struggling. You'll get this idea of, oh, if I do this, then all those problems go away at once and my path is open. And that happens because you've started identifying with already being the boss. If you keep seeing yourself as an employee and you just imagine a few times a day that you are the boss without taking the time to identify with the state of being the boss, of that new role you play, you are never going to actually manifest being the boss. Or if you manifest it, it will not last because you will keep thinking yourself as an employee. That's the same with dating. If you keep seeing yourself as the person who has had a train wreck of relationships in the past, and you just imagine you're happily married, but you don't identify with what that state of being happily married to someone and in a stable relationship means, what is going to happen is when you get out of your imagining session, you're going to be the exact same person you were before doing the imagining session. You will still have all the insecurities. You will still believe that you are a person who just manifests a train wreck of relationships. You will still feel insecure. You will still feel that you are the person that everyone cheats on. You will still feel that you are the person who can never get the guy or the girl, because that's who you have been up until now. The version of you that is happily married doesn't feel like that, because the version of you that is happily married is in a stable relationship. The version of you that is already happily married did get the guy or the girl. The person of you that is happily married is not being cheated on, is not being lied to. That's why she or he is happily married, right? It's a completely different inner state. That version of you thinks differently and feels differently and has a different level of self-confidence than you have right now. And if you want to manifest that steady relationship, that great marriage, you need to become that version of you that already has those things. That's why it is not enough to just see images. It is not enough to just imagine the scene of already having that, of it already having manifested. That's why we say that you need to identify with the feelings that person has. It's not just about feeling happy that you are in that relationship. Ask yourself, how exactly do I feel? How am I different? How is that version of me different than the version of me that exists right now? And then embody that version in your everyday life. So if that version of you is confident, pretend that you're confident right now. Tell yourself, I don't have to worry about any of those things that used to trouble me up until now. Of course, he's not going to cheat on me. Of course, he's not lying to me because we are in a great relationship. Persist on identifying with the version of you that already has this thing. Be that person now. Be that person that feels secure in their relationship right now. Be that person who doesn't need an apology because all that is in the past and it has been resolved because now you're happily married. Persist in thinking and feeling like the version of you that already has that desire, not like the old version of you. You cannot be two people at once. Either you are the person who is the victim, who has been hurt, who never gets what he or she wants, who cannot manifest this desire, who feels that this is a difficult thing to manifest, or you are the person who manifested that thing successfully. You have to choose. So if you want to manifest it, you need to choose the version of you that already manifested this. And ask yourself, how is she different? How is he different? And become that person. Instead of getting out of your imaginal session and switching back to the same old you, the one who feels hurt, the one who feels that he or she never gets the guy or the job or the promotion or the lottery win. If you want to win the lottery, you need to come out of your visualization of your imaginal session and feel rich and feel financially secure and feel that all your problems are taken care of. You need to shut the door to the outside world and ignore any evidence that says that you don't already have your desire, and you need to keep being that person. Imagine when you were a kid, you were different things. Maybe one day you played that you were a doctor, and another day you played you are a farmer, and the next day you played that you had a grocery store. And you fully stepped into those parts. You rang up people's items, even if there wasn't a friend there with you, even if it was with an imaginary client. Or you asked them where it hurts, and what did you do? You mimicked what you saw someone who was a doctor or the owner of a grocery store do. You did exactly what they did. You stepped into the shoes of someone who was a doctor. So you tried to think, what does the doctor do when I go to the doctor? oh, he has a stethoscope and he asks me to open my mouth and he looks inside and he does this and he does that. Or you thought of all the doctors you had seen on TV or in cartoons and you mimicked them. That's what you need to do to manifest your desire. Only you're not mimicking someone else, like a different profession necessarily. You're mimicking the version of you that is already doing that. So one simple way to do it is, if you admire someone who has what you want, you can mimic their behavior. So if it is about a job, do you have someone who you feel is very successful in the same thing that you want to do? Well, start behaving like them. Ask yourself, what would he do if you were me in this specific situation? So let's say you're a scientist and you admire Einstein. You can keep asking yourself, what would Einstein do here? Or maybe you want to become an actor. Well, if you have a favorite actor, if you have someone you admire, maybe it is someone who has a similar background to you. They started the way you did and they became a huge success against all odds, and you have a similar background. You were born in the same part of the world and your parents had a similar income to theirs and nobody believed that they would become a big actor ever. Maybe you have the same problems. Maybe you have a similar health problem that you feel is an obstacle for you. So that's why you identify with that person. That's why you admire them. Start asking yourself, what would he do if you were in this situation that I am right now? Why? Because you already know that this person has overcome all those problems that you want to overcome. So if you want an easy way to find what that future version of you that already has your desire, that successful career, that successful marriage, or whatever it is, would do, you can start asking questions. And if you cannot directly get to what that version of you would do, you can ask what someone else, a real person who has succeeded in what you want, would do in this specific situation, and act like them. And that's not about taking physical action to accomplish your desire. This is purely about embodying that state of the version of you that already has that desire. And if there's someone you admire who already has what you want, chances are they would react in a similar way to the version of you that has what you want. So if you cannot directly figure out what that successful version of you would do, the one who already has what you now desire, you can start by asking what someone who is already successful in that field would do, and then go into your imagination, go into your imaginal scene and pretend you're doing that thing, and see if it works for the future version of you, if that feels like something that is natural for you to do. And embody it in the now, and this is what is going to manifest your desire super fast. And if you like this video, then hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, because I put out new videos every Sunday to help you manifest an amazing life. Thank you so much for watching.